Okay guys, we are almost done with this application. So we have implemented this edit story and delete story. We have implemented the save post. We have implemented how to share a post and set this post. So we are all done with this part. The only part which is left is this trending. So if I log out from here, so down here we have a new component called trending on Medium. In this component we are going to display only top posts. For example, the posts that get more views will be displayed here. So top 6 posts that get more views will be displayed here. For example, you can see we have top 1 post and top 2 posts. So if I try to open this for many times more, it will be replaced with the first one. Okay, you can see the impact of literature on society, and this one is the joy of benefit. Okay, so it will be replaced with this one. Now let's try it again. Now you can see this post has been replaced with the first one. And if I try to replace it with this one, it will be replaced again. So if I try to open this here, now you can see this post will be the top first post inside this Medium trending. So now let's work on that. Okay, so up here we need to define a new use effect hook. And I'm gonna comment out here increment page views. Okay, so we are going to increment our page views whenever we have our initial render. So to get the initial render, we need to get our use ref here. So I'm going to write here count is initial render. Okay, and let's import this use ref. Okay, and it should be true by default. So using this variable, we are going to target our initial render. Okay, so inside this use effect hook, at first we need to set a condition. We need to say if is initial render dot current. If the page is experiencing the first render, then we are going to run a function here. So I'm gonna call this increment page view. Okay, it should be an asynchronous function. Okay, and let's call this function down here. Alright, so inside this function we need to have our try on catch block, and now let's first have our reference. So I'm gonna call this ref. Let's import the doc function, and the first argument is gonna be db. We are going to increment the post views inside this post collection, and also our post ID to get the specific post. Okay, so now we need to update our database. Okay, and the first argument is going to be reference, and the second one is going to be our update data. So in this case we are going to update the page views, and we need to import a new function from Firebase called increment, and increment this by 1. Make sure to import this function from Firebase Firestore. As you can see, and here I have imported from Firebase Firestore. Okay, and also make sure to spell this the same as this one, otherwise it will not work. So once we have incremented, we need to merge this. So in this case we are going to say merge is going to be true. Okay, now let's send an error message here. So toast dot error, we are going to send error dot message. Okay, and this is how you can make the function. Now we need to set this as initial render to be false, because if it is not initial render, we don't want to increment this page. Okay, so down this function we need to set this as initial render dot current to be equal to false. So if it's not the initial render, we don't wanna this increment to happen. Okay, now let's check it. So if I try to open this post, you can see this is the post ID. Now let's check it inside the database. You can see we have 1 page views in here. So if I refresh the page, now you can see we have 2 page views here. Alright guys, we are done with this page views. Now let's work on trending components. So I'm going to log out from here, and you can see we already have this trending component. So let me open the trending here. Okay, you can see for now we have only this empty component. So to display the post which has more views inside the trending component, we are going to sort this post. So and here we need to get our post data from this block context API. Okay, so down here we need to make a new variable, and I'm gonna call this get trending. And in this variable we are going to sort our post data. So I'm going to say post data dot sort. This function will return A and B. Okay, and we just say B dot page views minus A dot page views. Okay, so now let's display this. So I'm going to change this to be section, and let's have a class name here. And here we need to have a border bottom, and border color should be gray and 600. Okay, so inside of this one we need to have a new div with the class name of size. Padding y should be 2rem. Okay, and inside here at first we need to have a heading to display our title. As you can see, we need to have this title and this icon. So for this we are going to have a new div here with the class name of flex. Item should be center, and we need to have a gap of 3. Font is going to be semi bold. Okay, so for the icon we need to have a span tag, and this is our icon here. I just imported from React icons. Let's import it here. It's coming from React icons, and make sure to remove this close and open here. Alright, and for the title we need to have a heading too. Let's just copy this title and paste it here. Okay, as you can see, here is my title. So down this one we need to display all the posts with their user data. So down this div we need to have another div with the class name of grade columns and cart, and also we need to add a gap of 3. So I have added this cart class inside our tailwind.config.js, if you remember, which is this one. Okay, alright guys, so inside the trending component we are going to display only 6 top posts. As you can see, we have only 6 top posts in here. Okay, so we need to first slash this post. So we are going to say get trending dot slash. We are going to get from 0 index up to 6. So we just need 6 posts dot map, and we are going to get each and every trend with their ID, and let's just return a new component here. Okay, it's called trend. Let's define it down here, and for now let's return this heading 1 hello. Okay, and we are going to pass this trend to this component, and also we need to have a key here. Key should be index. Okay, and also because we need to have this number, so these numbers are the index of our post. So I just send this index here. Okay, and that's it. Now you can see, because we have only 3 posts, it's displaying 3 posts only. Alright, so now let's work on single trend here. So down here we are going to receive the trend and index. Okay, now I'm going to delete it from here, and again we need to have a main tag here with the class name of flex. Gap should be 4 and width is going to be full. Okay, now inside here at first we need to have a span tag for our index, so it will have a class name. Text color should be gray and 400, and also text size is going to be 4 XL. We need to have a margin top of 4 also. Okay, so inside here I just add this index, but because index starts from 0, so we need to increment it by 1, so it should start from 1. Okay, since we have an error here, now let's check what is the error. Okay, post data.sort. This is because we need to say if we have post data, then we are going to sort this data here. Okay, again down here we need to set another condition here. If we have get trending, we wanna slice and map through this. Okay, and now you can see the error is gone. If I refresh the page, you can see we don't have any error. And also we have these indexes, we have 3 posts and it starts from 1 here. Okay, following this we need to have another div with the class name of padding y should be 6, flex should be column, and we just have a gap of 3. So inside here we need to have another div with the class name of flex item center, and gap is going to be 2. Now inside here we are going to add our user data, so it will be again inside another div with the class name of flex items center. Gap is going to be 2. We need to have a cursor pointer and a hover effect here, so the opacity is going to be 75. Okay, so now let's add our user data. At first let's add the image. The image should be trend.userImage. For this alt tag we need to add user image. Okay, so let's have a class name here. Width should be 1.3 rem. Height also should be 1.3 rem. We need to add object cover, and also rounded is going to be full. Okay, now as you can see here is my user image. So following that we need to have our username. So following this image we are going to have a heading too, and let's print this trend.username here, and it will have a class name. Font is going to be semi-bold, text small, and it should be capitalized. Okay, now you can see here is my user data. Okay, so when I click on a user, I want their profile to be opened. So for that we need to have our navigate hook again, navigate, and it's gonna be equal to use navigate. Okay, so inside this div I just add an onClick function, navigate, and let's navigate to the /profile and our user ID. So just print this trend.user ID. Okay, now let's check it. So if I click this Amir Khan, you can see this profile will be opened here, and let's check it on this one. You can see this profile will be opened here. Alright, now let's print the post data. So down this div we are going to have another div with the class name of flex. Flex should be column, gap is going to be 4, and we need to have cursor pointer again. For hover effect it should be an opacity of 75. Okay, now inside here at first let's print our title. So it should be trend.title, and also we need to have our description. So it should be inside this p tag with the class name of text, should be gray and 500, and text size is going to be extra small. So now inside here we need to print our date. As you can see, we need to print this date and the time of reading. So again, I'm going to import moment function here, and we just pass this trend.created. Make sure to add this question mark, and we need to format it here based on month and year. Okay, following that, we need to import our helper function. So again, we need to have this curly braces and import this reading time. If you remember, we had this helper function here. Let's open this, and it should be read time. So I just simply copy and paste it here. Now let's import, and I just add the trend dot disk here. Okay, and let's add this minute read following this. Okay, now let's check it. As you can see, we have this date here with the time of reading this post. Okay, since they are close to each other, so I'm going to add this template string in here and add them inside this curly braces. Okay, and I just copy this text from here and paste them here. Okay, so if I add an spaces here, now you can see we have enough space between them. So I forget to add class name for this paragraph. Width should be full. For empty devices above, width should be 18 rem. Text size is going to be MD. We need to have a font of bold, and finally line clamp should be 2. Okay, now let's check it. As you can see, here is our post data. So when I click this post, I want the single post data to be opened. So again, we need to have an onClick function here. Okay, and let's write navigate. It will navigate me to this post, and this should be trend.id. Make sure to add this question mark here. Okay, so if I try to open this post here, okay, seems we have an error. Let's check what is the error here inside the single post. Okay, seems the error is inside this follow button. So I'm going to open the single post here. Okay, the error is here. So at first we need to check whether the user is authenticated or not. Then we should check this ID. Okay, so before that we need to say if we have current user and this current user.uid is not equal to user ID. Okay, and down here we also need to check if we have current user. Then we need to check it. Okay, I think we don't have any error. Now if I refresh the page here, you can see we don't have that error anymore. So now let's open another post in here. Okay, you can see we don't have this error. Now let's check if I can like this post when I'm not authenticated. Okay, you can see I'm not able to like this post. So instead I wanna open this model. So if the user is not authenticated, I wanna open this model here. Okay, so let's open this like post. So if you remember, we have set this condition in here. So if we have current user, we wanna like the post. If we don't have, let's say else, we wanna open this model. Okay, to get that use state hook, I'm going to open this demo header in here. So down here, as you can see, I have sent this model to this auth. So if I open this auth in here, we have this reusable model to open our model in here. So all I need to do is I'm going to rename it to art model. Okay, and let's change this to be set art model, and I'm going to send it to this art. Okay, so let's send it here. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to send it inside my context, because I need to get it inside this like and other components also. So I just open this context in here, and up here I just paste it. Okay, now let's send it inside this values. Alright, so at first we need to get this inside our demo header. So it's coming from this blog user hook, and now we are going to get it inside this like also. Okay, so we have already imported this block. I just need this set art model in here. So I'm going to copy this, and inside this else I just say to be true. Okay, so set art model to be true. If the user is authenticated, we are going to like the post, otherwise it should open our art model here. Okay, let's refresh the page. Now I'm not authenticated, but if I try to like this post, you can see it will ask me to sign in first. Alright, and also we can add this inside the saved post. So I'm going to open this saved post component, and inside this handle save, you can see we already set this condition if the user is authenticated. So I just import this set art model here. Okay, and we have this condition else it should be true. Okay, so if I try to click it, you can see it will ask me to log in first. Okay, we have this error. It should not be yellow when the user is not authenticated. Okay, we made a mistake in here. It's not supposed to be equal to post.id. It should be equal to this current user.uid. Okay, now you can see this color is gone. Alright, so if I open this profile in here and try to open this list, as you can see we have an error. So I'm going to open this profile list in here, and again we need to check if the user is authenticated. We want to check this user ID. Okay, so if I try to open this list, okay, seems we have another error. This time inside this get single data. Okay, I think this error is coming from this use single fetch, because we send this current user ID, so we don't have this ID here. So I'm going to open this custom hook here, and inside this function we need to set a condition. We are going to say if we have ID, then we are going to display this data. Okay, now let's check it. If I remove this error and if I open this list, you can see we don't have that error anymore. Alright guys, that's it. Okay, now let's check whether we can move this post to be the top first post in this platform. Let's open this for many times. Okay, you can see it is moved to be the second post. Let's make it top 1 post. Okay, now you can see this post is the top 1 post. It means that our trending component is working perfectly. Alright guys, now let's push this code. So I'm going to say here that trending is finished. Let's state all the changes here and just commit this code. Okay, I'm going to close all the tabs in here.